here, like Brother said. We're here to address the mismanagement that's been going on in RHA for decades. Decades. Disinvestment from the black community in the city of Richmond. And they've been uplifting white organizations and white corporations. And none of that wealth, none of that ownership has been making it back to the community. You know, this week some of y'all might have saw my Facebook page. And I had the picture of the president of RHA, TK Somanoff. I had him on my Facebook page, and people saw the picture and they said, "Oh man, brother, that's cold." They said, "That's cold." I said, "Nah, that's not cold." I said, "You know what's cold? Cold is them putting highways over the black community in Jackson Ward, one of the richest black communities in the country, and kicking our people out to the projects and trapping them there. That's what's cold. Cold is when they tried to remove bus coverage to the black communities in the city of Richmond in favor of white people that are moving into the city that want to move a little bit faster. While our senior citizens have to walk 4 or 5 blocks with groceries in their hands through communities that they may not feel safe in. That's what's cold. Cold is when crime is allowed to continue and children are murdered in public housing in the city of Richmond while people like Maurice beg for years for them to get security cameras and lighting to control that. That's what's cold. Cold is when me and my comrades over here are physically assaulted to prevent us from going into meetings in City Hall when they're going to talk about public housing. That's what's cold out here. Cold is when the black community is prevented from building wealth and ownership while their tax dollars are given to white corporations in the city of Richmond so that they can keep building off our poverty. Cold is when we have no programs in middle school. We have no programs for middle school age youth in public housing communities, but the city can produce $5 million to give to this company for them to make houses on the Armstrong High School site that Creighton residents cannot even move into. Cold is when a new bus system is made that does not get one public housing resident to a new job, to a new family member, to a new doctor's office. That's what's cold in the city of Richmond. Cold is when people are duped into believing that the only way to a better life is for them to be moved to the county where they have less access to jobs, less access to family and to doctors. That's what's cold out here. Cold is the treatment of our brothers and sisters in this city. Cold is being used to generate wealth for white organizations and being kicked out after we no longer have any use for them, just like the Blackwell residents were done. That's what's cold in the city of Richmond. Cold is the feeling that our brothers and sisters are experiencing right now, because there's still many people suffering. You know, they want it to look like it's just Creighton. We know that this issue is widespread throughout the whole city of Richmond. I've been taking calls all weekend and talking to people all weekend, and a lot of y'all was a part of that effort, and I really appreciate y'all for getting resources to the community where the city has failed them, where the Public Housing Association has failed them. All weekend we were sending hot meals to residents, sending warm blankets, sending coats, scarves, hats, all of this. And that came out of people's own pockets. None of that came from the public. None of that came from public funding. That was all you guys. That was all of us. We were looking out for each other. We had residents over here when the water main broke Saturday morning. We had residents passing bottles of water out to each other so that they could make formula for their infants. That was the community pulling together. The Public Housing Authority didn't come and check on them. You know what code is? Code is this myth of poverty deconcentration. The myth that It's based on, let me tell you about this poverty deconcentration myth. It's based on the fact that wealthier black people, they tend to live near white people. They didn't magically gain wealth because they moved over to white people. But that's what they want you to believe. They want you to believe that if somebody can move over into the county where white people live, that that's going to magically make their lives better. When they're going to have less access to jobs, they're going to have less access to transportation. Who they going to buy a cup of sugar from when they don't know anybody out there? This stuff been going on for decades in this city, and it's time for it to change. And the way we're going to get it to change, we got to cut this thing off at their head. And the rest of the body going to wither with it. And we can set the new trend, a new day in Richmond, where we can move a step towards this one Richmond that we hear so much about, that half of the city knows nothing about. I'll pass this to my brother, Art Burton, over here. He has been fighting for decades in the city of Richmond, empowering our residents.
All right. Hey, let me make one thing clear, right? Everybody got an opinion. And if you feel like you need to speak, speak. All right? This is the opinion. This is a community effort to come together to do what we got to do. And let's just make it better for everybody. White, black, Asian, others. It don't matter who you are. We going to make this thing better for the city of Richmond. And we're going to stand at the city of Richmond. All right? Yeah, the housing development, right, is in a bad place. The heat brought us here. We're going to address these issues, right? But we're going to address, this affects everybody. It don't just affect me. It don't just affect my cousin. Everybody, family. You understand what I'm saying? You hear me?
I can hear you, can
Go ahead.
Could he? Something I need to do with this Omar.
Hold that button in, right?
Yeah, Chuck.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Art Burton, and I'm the Executive Director of Kinfolk Community Empowerment Center. And I'm one of the founding members of Community Unity in Action, which is made up of 11 social justice organizations throughout this city. And we are under the leadership of our Executive Chair, the Reverend Dr. Charles Shannon, from Faith Leaders Moving Forward. We're here tonight to support Brother Maurice's call, Coaches Against Violence Everywhere. His call that we come together and stand together as a community and address the issues of the suffering of the children and families in public housing. The ground rules for speaking here tonight were that there should be no personal attacks made. And so I want to assure everybody that I'm not going to attack anybody. We didn't come here for that tonight. We came here tonight because our neighbors are in trouble. Their communities are being threatened. Their children are being harmed and forced to suffer. We are here because we love this city and understand that her greatness does not rely on the splendors of her buildings, but the final judgment on this city will be measured on the human condition on which her children are found. This community, founded by black people coming out of slavery, was built to be a place where black people could heal coming out of a horrific condition and brutal treatment. We're here to honor our ancestors to ensure that their descendants will never, ever suffer in the ways they did. We're here because we have our own special purpose to bring peace to the world by changing this racist city, this government well practiced in its policies of hate and racism, and its political officers that suck off the breasts of white supremacists. This institution, RRHA, with its charge and responsibility to care for the last remnants of children, some 10 last remnants of our children who come out of slavery, some 10,000, as well as their mothers and grandfathers, and their fathers broken through 400 years of struggle, must have a leadership that has a heart and constitution that will ensure that their communities will be built with to have a brilliant quality of life. See, we can't walk around and consider ourselves leaders and pretend that political solutions for black people can manifest themselves 20 years from now. We can't allow our leaders to advance our leaders to move their own self-advancement made on deals written on the backs of poor black people. Or you can fix decisions made to destroy communities on the back end after you sign a deal using our blood. See, we have a special charge and responsibility to build great communities for black people and transform this racist place. See, we need to build a community that will be a brilliant light, that will be seen by other communities in this nation, that will change this nation and bring about a peace to this world. See, some folks want to run around and play ends between the middle. Some of our leaders want to be with us today and be with somebody else in tomorrow. Some of them want to stand in the back and see what we're going to do. Well, we're going to do what we need to do to protect our children, because that's who we're standing here for. And at this time, in 2018, you're either with us or against us, but if you get on one side or the other, because if you're standing in the middle, we're going to move you on out our way. We are standing for freedom. We are standing for justice. We are standing for liberty, the same way our ancestors came when they came here out of slavery. And I'm going to tell you right now, see, I don't know a lot about freedom, justice, and liberty. I only saw freedom 3 times. But every time I saw her, she wasn't wearing 2 coats. I only been to Justice's house twice, but she wasn't standing over no space heater. It locked up in a bedroom, laying in a bed under 3 blankets. I only been with Liberty once, but she wasn't shivering when I saw her. And our children don't deserve to be cold either. So you can't stand for justice, freedom, and liberty and think the conditions here are all right. So I renew my call today, the same call we made in September, to say that the sorry leadership of RRHA must go, and we must replace that leadership that has a heart for the people, a leadership that believes that we can build beautiful communities that light the way for the nation and the world, a leadership that believes in the possibilities of our children and they can be educated to be world citizens. If you don't believe that black people that live in this city have a right to that, then you need to pack your bags and go and start on your way to hell, because that's where you going anyway. Leadership. If you believe that you can cut the boilers off and not give our children heat, or you support leadership that believes it's okay for our children not to have heat, then you need to get ready to feel the heat. If you believe we are here in 2018, we are going to begin to tear statues, institutions that are symbols of racism and white supremacy down before we leave this earth, in order to ensure that our children and our grandchildren will never be cold, never suffer, never struggle, never be taken for change this world. Thank y'all.
Thank you. One person, one people at a time. Hey, is anybody else that want to speak? Come right here. Don't be silent now. If people done cut the heat off of the community, and y'all act like y'all ain't got nothing to say. I know there's a whole crowd of people that got a whole lot to say.
My name is Lynetta Thompson. I'm the past president of the Richmond NAACP, but I'm also a member of the CUIA Community Unity in Action. And everything that's already been said is truly has been said with power, but this is about accountability. Accountability. If we don't hold our elected officials accountable to holding Richmond redevelopment and housing accountable, then there is no accountability. And so what really needs to happen, we have to organize from the grassroots up, because we recognize from the leadership down it's not happening. Okay, people have power. We have the power when we pool our power together. And it's us in power that have to hold those in power accountable. So I am just excited that you all have come out tonight. I'm excited that the attention has gotten, that the city has gotten the attention. Okay, because this is not brand new. They do know. They made a conscious decision not to turn on boilers, but they made a conscious decision to invest in space heaters. They had to invest in that. They knew that. So they want to move these people out. People should not have to leave their home to feel safe. They need to invest in the community. They need to invest in the people in the community. People want to live in their community that they grew up in, and there's no reason why they can't, because as black people, we was raised in these communities. And we are doctors, we are lawyers, we are every profession on the earth. So it's not about where you live, it's about the resources and the input that you put into people in your community. So Richmond Redevelopment is a program. And as a program, they're supposed to be they're supposed to be invested in the people. So I'm saying I'm just glad that right now we have to hold the city mayor accountable, we have to hold our city council accountable, and they have to hold Richmond Redevelopment accountable and HUD. Because this was not brand new. This did not happen right here before Thanksgiving. This was a conscious decision. So I just want to say, please show up at city council. Let's hold them accountable. And the main thing our people need to, what we need to do, and what we are taking responsibility of making sure that they are voters, because we need to change the face of our local elected officers. And we need to put people that really care and compassion about the people. So that comes from the people that's out here today. So again, thank you.